World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, claiming over 70 million lives between 1939 and 1945. Entire nations clashed, cities were reduced to rubble, and battles were fought on a scale the world had never seen before. But which battles were the most devastating? In this video, we'll count down the 10 deadliest battles of World War II. From the frozen steppes of Russia to the jungles of the Pacific, these battles left millions dead and changed the course of history forever. 10. Battle of France, 1940. We begin with the German invasion of France in 1940. In just 6 weeks, Nazi Germany overwhelmed French, British, and Belgian forces with lightning-fast blitzkrieg tactics. Over 500,000 people were killed, wounded, or captured. The rapid fall of France shocked the world and left Britain standing alone against Hitler's empire. 9. Battle of Moscow, 1941 to 1942. Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941 aimed to capture Moscow before winter. German troops advanced to within 15 miles of the Soviet capital, but the Red Army fought desperately, and reinforcements from Siberia arrived just in time. In brutal winter conditions, the Soviets launched a counteroffensive that pushed the Germans back. The battle cost 1 million lives, and it marked the first major defeat for Hitler's army in the East. 8. Battle of Berlin, 1945. In April 1945, the final battle for Europe erupted. The Soviet Union launched a massive assault on Berlin, defended by desperate German soldiers and even teenage boys. The city became a wasteland of rubble, with street-to-street and house-to-house combat. The Soviets suffered enormous losses, but eventually crushed all resistance. In the end, over 1 million people were killed or wounded in just 2 weeks. Hitler committed suicide in his bunker, and Nazi Germany collapsed. 7. Battle of France, 1944. Normandy Campaign. 4 years after falling to Germany, France became the site of another massive battle. After D-Day in June 1944, Allied forces pushed inland, facing fierce German resistance in hedgerows and towns. The Battle of Normandy lasted more than 2 months, killing and wounding over 400,000 soldiers and civilians. It was a turning point in the West, opening the road to Paris and the liberation of Europe. 6. Battle of Luzon, 1945. In the Pacific, the Battle of Luzon in the Philippines was one of the bloodiest. American and Filipino troops fought against entrenched Japanese defenders in jungles, mountains, and cities. The fighting left over 500,000 dead, including tens of thousands of civilians killed in massacres by retreating Japanese forces. Luzon's liberation crippled Japan's hold on the Pacific. 5. Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943. Perhaps the most infamous battle of the war, Stalingrad. For 6 months, German and Soviet forces fought over every street, every building, every room. Temperatures dropped below freezing, supplies ran out, and soldiers starved. Soviet counterattacks eventually trapped over 250,000 German troops in the city. By February 1943, the German Sixth Army surrendered. The battle left nearly 2 million dead, making it the bloodiest battle in human history. Stalingrad marked the turning point of the war in Europe. 4. Battle of Leningrad, Siege 1941 to 1944. The Siege of Leningrad lasted nearly 900 days, making it one of the longest and most horrific battles ever fought. German and Finnish armies encircled the city, cutting off supplies. Civilians starved, eating anything they could to survive. Over 1.5 million people died, most of them civilians. The Red Army finally lifted the siege in 1944, but the suffering of Leningrad remains one of the darkest chapters of the war. 3. Battle of Okinawa, 1945. The last great battle of the Pacific was also one of the deadliest. In 1945, U.S. forces invaded Okinawa, facing fanatical Japanese resistance. Kamikaze pilots crashed planes into American ships, while soldiers and civilians fought to the death on the island. The battle cost over 200,000 lives, including thousands of civilians who were forced into mass suicides. Okinawa showed how bloody an invasion of Japan itself would be and influenced the decision to drop the atomic bombs. 2. Battle of the Bulge, 1944 to 1945. Hitler's last major offensive in the West came in December 1944. In the frozen forests of Belgium, German tanks smashed into Allied lines, hoping to split the armies. The surprise attack caused chaos, but American forces held strong at Bastogne and elsewhere. After weeks of brutal fighting, the Germans were pushed back. The battle killed or wounded over 180,000 men, exhausting Germany's last reserves. 1. Battle of Kursk, 1943. The largest tank battle in history took place at Kursk in 1943. Hitler launched Operation Citadel to crush the Soviet army with over 3,000 tanks and 900,000 men. But the Soviets were ready. They built miles of defenses, minefields, and artillery lines. The fighting raged for weeks, with tanks colliding in massive armored clashes. The Germans lost, suffering over 800,000 casualties. Kursk ended any chance of a German victory in the East. Conclusion. World War II was a global catastrophe, and these battles were its bloodiest moments. From Stalingrad's ruins to the jungles of Luzon, each battle claimed hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of lives. They remind us of the true cost of war and why peace is so precious. Which of these battles do you think was the deadliest or the most important? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me for more deep dives into the history that shaped our world.